I'm sure, the world's slowest writer. Maybe not the slowest, but I better hope Thomas Harris doesn't die. Anyway, I'm Bill Underwood. I'm a writer. I have finally finished my new novel, Saving Majesty. I have it right here. Looks like that. Um, the novels are based on horses coming to North America. The history, they're fiction, they're novels. Um, I'm already working on book 3 in this series called Unbroken Horses. Saving Majesty is a sequel to this book here, Unbroken. Those of you that read Unbroken will remember that the main character was Felipe. Cortez came to his family farm and basically stole their stallion, Majesty, threw Felipe's dad into prison, and the dad arranged for Felipe to go along as Majesty's groom, basically to keep him out of being thrown into prison alongside his dad. So then Felipe's adventure begins, and along the way, Felipe finds a little Mayan girl that had been taken captive by the Spanish on a previous expedition, and he manages to get her out of prison. And so he takes her out of her captivity, rather, out of slavery. He takes her back to Mexico, and then his story continues. And eventually, by the end of Unbroken, he's gotten back to Cuba to try and get his dad out of jail. That left me with a dilemma. I wanted the story to be about the horses coming to North America, but my main character had gone back to Cuba. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to write about Abai, even though she wasn't the main character. So to tell Abai's story, which is what Saving Majesty is about, I had to go back to before Felipe came into her life, to when she was first taken captive by the Spaniards. So the story starts from there, works up through that slavery, up to the point where Felipe drops her off in Mexico and goes on his way. And then we discover that her family's nowhere around where he dropped her off. And so she starts thinking about planning, how can I get back to where my family was, find out if they're still alive. Before she can do that, however, she comes across Majesty, wounded, laying down on a battlefield. She assumes Felipe's got to be coming to look for him. So she starts working at getting him back to health, because she's sure Felipe is going to show up any minute. Eventually, when Felipe doesn't come around, she decides, I'm going to have to go by myself and try to find how my family is doing, whether my family is still alive. So that's the beginning of her journey hundreds of miles inland to find her family. Meanwhile, Felipe over in Cuba has started having some misgivings about what happened to Majesty. The story he was told was that Majesty died, but some of the things that he was told don't line up. Plus, he's thinking about how he left Abai, and he's thinking, I didn't really do right by her. I should have made sure she got back to her family. So he decides he needs to go back to Mexico. So now we have two pretty incredible journeys by two different kids that are both aiming toward the same goal. So that's what Saving Majesty is about. It's the two stories of those two kids. My books are not, even though the main characters are kids, my books are not really kids' books. I mean, they're not inappropriate for kids. I don't really know how to write a book for kids, so I write books the way I write books. There's nothing in either book that's inappropriate for a kid. If there are words in there that a kid doesn't know, well, they can either work it out from the context like we adults do, or they can stop and go look it up on Google. But I think they're exciting stories for both kids and adults. I think Saving Majesty is the best book that I've done so far. It's definitely bigger than Unbroken, as you can see. There's more story to it. If I was good at what I'm doing here, if I knew anything about making videos, I'd put a little link across the page to tell you how to find it on Amazon. I don't know how to do that. I noticed, however, that there is this QR code on the back. And so if you can, I don't know whether you can do that. I don't know whether your phone will focus on that. I don't know whether this is in focus even with me holding this up close to my phone. Maybe it isn't in focus. Maybe it is. Maybe I have to hold it really still and wait. I don't know I don't know. I don't know how to do this. If that doesn't work for you, you can just go to Amazon and you can type in my name, Bill K. Underwood, and it'll take you to all of my books. Thank you very much for listening.